Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back. Jamie here today. I'm going to be talking about Saw 5, which was released in 2008, directed by David Hackle, who was the set designer on the last films. Once again written by Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton. And I gotta say straight up, this is one of my least favourites inside the series. It's not the worst, but it's near the bottom of the list for me. It just feels too simple. There's nothing complicated about it. It continues the story from Saw 4. We understand more of Hoffman's backstory and the flashbacks of how he became an accomplice with Jigsaw, but we'll get into it. It starts with the pendulum trap, and the actor, looks just like Aaron Paul, Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. But his name's Seth Baxter, and he's in there, and basically, Bill comes on the video and he's like, you got off with murder. What is it? His sentence was like half reduced or something like that. And the way to get out, he has to crush his hands, like with these two things side by side, and he gets cut in half basically before he does. I think it was rigged anyway. I don't think he could have got out anyway. And he sees just before he dies as the people, someone watching him, just like John did with his first traps. And from there we go to the title card, and even that's ugly, like the font and everything. It's just Saw 5 and it looks all like iron like. It's just, I don't like it, man. Not a fan. We cut back to Strom inside the sick room, and he gets a tape from John and realises there's a passage out of this room. The tape's basically saying like, this could be your sanctuary or your tomb, choose. And he just starts going through, and he gets ambushed by a pig needle inside the neck, and he wakes up inside the water cube trap, and it's basically like his head is inside this cube getting filled with water, and it's like an execution really. All this stuff's been put over there, his gun and everything. He's searching, his search is nearly drowned in, and he finds a pen inside his pocket and he stabs it through his throat so he can start breathing. The question is, where did the pen come from? Because Hoffman put all his stuff like out of reach. Hoffman's coming out of the building, even he's shocked. He's got Jeff's daughter from part 3, and then Strom starts getting wheeled out as well, and you can tell by Hoffman's face is like, wait a minute, how? So there's one lingering question right there. Who put the pen inside Strom's pocket for him to survive? From there, Jill, John's wife, is given a box by his attorney or something like that, and John's also on the tape, and he's saying like, oh, he's apologizing and all that, and he says like, well, this box is great important, she'll know what to do with it, and she even has the key around the neck to open it. We don't see what's inside, that's for the next film, but they're setting up Saw 6 already. We get a memorial of all the officers who would die, like Daniels, Matthews, Kerry, Tapp, like the whole entire police force is dead apart from Hoffman and Strom basically. After that, Hoffman gets a letter saying someone knows who he is. I know who you are is what the letter says, so he starts getting suspicious. The only person alive right now really is Strom, really, innit? So he thinks it's him. He goes to confront him at the hospital about how he survived, and Hoffman's like, back the fuck off. And Strom's talking like, because he's got a thing for his throat, so he's got like, his throat's all gone, his voice is all gone. From there, we're introduced to Erickson, who's like the top police officer in a way, like for the FBI. He's got an earpiece as well, and he informs Strom that he's been taken off the case. We finally get into the main game of this film. 5 people inside the trap, because it's Saw 5, and even this is simple, like the twist and everything. One of them is Julie Benz, who's Dexter Morgan's wife from the show Dexter, and the rest of them are just annoying. They really are, the rest of the characters. They're all involved in like this house, like this building fire that happened, and people died in it. They're all selfish people. And the big twist is like, they all could have survived like if they just worked together. Even Jigsaw tells them like, 5 become 1. I implore you to like, don't use your instincts, go the complete opposite way from them. And that was the twist of the thing, giving it up right now. They all could have survived if they worked together, but they didn't. But basically this first one, there's 5 glass boxes in front of him. They're all like chained up with these things, and there's a V-shaped like a razor what they're going to get pulled into and decapitated basically. And they all start pulling, so other people get pulled. They got 60 seconds, and one of them gets decapitated with CGI, and that's how it goes. They're really bad acting here, or before that girl gets decapitated, one of them's a junkie, and he's like, answer me, and he sounds like so, oh my days, I don't know what this acting's on about, man, but it's ridiculous. Strom starts looking into Hoffman's past, and he finds out that his sister was murdered by Seth Baxter, and that's basically why, Hoffman chose him, because he was getting revenge for his sister. And he goes where the pendulum trap was from the beginning, and he just starts talking out loud to himself. He's talking to the audience, and this is what I'm saying, like this film, I don't know if it's the writing or the directing or what, but it treats you like you're stupid. The past 4 films have been complicated, you gotta pay attention. This one, you got Strom basically just telling you what's going on. Like it's like we're breaking the fourth wall. It's literally he's talking to himself, but it's supposed to be for the audience because they think we're too stupid to understand. Thankfully, Saw 6, the next film, is probably my favourite. So, you know, the up and down is crazy here. I don't know what they're going on with this writing, man. Why is Strom just talking out loud to himself? It's so stupid. So we get to the second part of the game. There's 4 chambers, but only 3 keys. And obviously the chambers are big enough to fit at least 2 people in each, but they don't do that. We get a flashback to Hoffman, and he gets another note saying, I know who you are. So clearly this one wasn't sent by Strom, but we're going to find out who sent this one. Because he gets inside an elevator, and who's in the back? John Kramer. And it's just them two, and he's like, he gets a needle out, and he basically ambushes him inside the elevator and takes him to his lair. He kidnaps him for framing, because Hoffman framed Seth's murder on Jigsaw. You know, he had the Billy tape, which is a whole different plot issue that I'm not going to get into. How could he have Billy the puppet when it didn't exist at this point? But you know, we won't get into that right now. But yeah, he's basically kidnapped him for framing Seth for his own victim. And he's sat down inside a chair, and there's a shotgun facing him, and he talks about his sister and how he just drinks every night and just repeats the process. And you get the line, killing is distasteful to me. Like, John, he has this whole like idea that he's not a killer, but in a way he is a killer. We get the other line. John says, I want to know if you have what it takes to survive, which will come back in Saw 6 as well. But basically John blackmails him into helping him. He's like, you know, you can either kill me now, but information will get out that you've been involved, or you can help me and try and rehabilitate people. And Hoffman eventually chooses to do it. And then from there we get a sick flashback to Paul from the first film. You know, it's like the razor wire. He's outside his car nearly cutting himself, and he gets ambushed by John and Hoffman. But he's a big guy, so he overpowers him for a bit, and you can tell they're having a struggle, but eventually they get him down. And we get a flashback to Saw 1 with the razor wire. They're both in the back sat there watching. We only thought it was Jigsaw in the beginning, but Hoffman there as well. John gives Hoffman Dr. Gordon's pen. He's like, I need you to lead the police to someone, a doctor who's in need of some healing. And then we keep going into the flashbacks. We go to Saw 2 in the nerve gas house. They're setting it up. We got Amanda in there, you know, Hoffman's pulling in the bodies, and he's basically asking, like, you know, how do you know everything's going to happen? Why is Amanda inside the game? And John's like, if you're good at anticipating the human mind, it leaves nothing to chance. And you know, John's really good at doing that, because like throughout, he's been dead for how many movies now, and he's got all this planned out. He is really good at anticipating the human mind, no doubt about it. Back to the main game, there's this bath, what they need to like, they got 5 points of electric that they need to like point together to open the next door, and he ambushed one of the girls, and they just start putting them all in. But obviously there was all 5 of them still alive. They each could have done a little bit of a shock and opened it. So once again, this game's just stupid. Jill meets with Erickson, and she says that she's been followed by the person who interrogated her, which was Strom in the last film. So, you know, they're starting to set up Strom as the new Jigsaw apprentice. Strom goes back to the sick room from before, and he's talking to himself once again, because they think the audience is stupid. We get a flashback to just before Saw 3. Hoffman's talking to John, and he's saying like, oh, you need to set up a game which will become clear in time, and that's the game from this film. And it's like, when's it ever going to become clear? I still don't know why they were tested. Oh, they all were involved inside the house fire, but what's that got to do with Hoffman? Hoffman leaves through the secret passage just before Amanda wheels in Lynn from the start of Saw 3, so that was a pretty cool detail. I do like that. But he also says that Amanda will fail him, and this, you know, he starts framing Amanda, and you can tell he just wants Amanda away, which we'll find out in the next film. But I gotta make a point, Hoffman's real busy here. At this point, he sets up the games for Saw 4 and Saw 5. And probably, no, I guess not Saw 6. Maybe. Yeah, he probably started planning it at least. So yeah, Hoffman's a busy guy, man. But back in the present, Hoffman's setting up Strom even more as the Jigsaw apprentice. We get the final game with only 2 of them left, and he have to give blood. Obviously, if they were all still alive, they could have gave a bit each and survived. But now they have to give, what is it, 10 pints, 5 pints or something like that. And eventually, like, they just start cutting through their arm. We find out the twist, oh, they all could have worked together. It's just a stupid twist, it really is. You could have seen it coming straight away. You really could have. Strom follows Hoffman. Hoffman obviously knows he's followed, but he's pretending that he doesn't, to the nerve gas house. But now it's all it's like renovated. Like, it looks like Hoffman's actually living there. Like, it looks like an actual house, but you can tell by the layout. There's even a door like going into the basement. So he goes down into the tunnels, and we see the blood trail. But is it Eric's or is it Gordon's from Saw 1? Erickson arrives where the game's being held, and he finds, you know, Julie Benz and the other guy, with both of them passing out basically. He calls in that Strom is the Jigsaw apprentice, because he rings and he finds Strom's phone ringing right next to him. So back to the final part of the film. Strom is tricked into this room with the glass box, what we've seen in Saw 4. There's a tape in there with Hoffman's voice on it, and he's saying the only way to survive this room, you got to get inside this glass box. You know, pain will be incurred, but you can survive. But he stops playing it because he hears a sound behind him, and it's Hoffman slowly coming in with a needle. But this is all Hoffman's plan. He wants Strom to throw him into a box, so he does. And he thinks, oh, I've got you now, but it starts raising down. Hoffman has this sick grin on his face. He starts pointing at the tape, and the tape's like, but if you don't get inside the box, this room will be your tomb and no one will ever hear from you again. And the walls will start closing in. And he's like, tell me how to open it, you motherfucker. I know who you are. And he's shooting at him, but even the glass box is bulletproof. Hoffman's just smirking away. Eventually, Strom's bone comes sticking out of his hand, all the blood sticking down, and Hoffman's just there like a badass, just soaking it all in. And that's how the film ends. Obviously, Hello Zep's playing throughout this as well. Strom just gets completely crushed as Hoffman's underneath, and that's the end. So I gotta say, Saw 5, it's not the worst of the series, but it's definitely not the best. I'm probably gonna give it 5 out of 10. Like, the story is completely dumbed down. Like, it's like they're treating the audience like they're stupid. It's like Saw 5 at this point. You should be watching it because you're up to date with the story. Annoying characters apart from Hoffman, like even Strom's annoying just talking to himself. The whole people's like the main game are annoying. Ericsson's not bad, I guess, but Hoffman steals the show. The best part, like I said, is Hoffman and the flashbacks. That's the best part of this film. The traps aren't even that good. I just love the flashbacks with him and John. Saw 5 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Next week we talk about Saw 6, which is probably one of it is my favourite. It's either that or Saw 2. We'll find out next week. But until then, peace out in a bit.